Chairman, let's pray. Father, thank you for the day that has been given. May we never take for granted the blessings of life. Thank you for all you do for us. We pray for your blessings on our county, for the continued help pandemic that we're in. Pray that you be with our Board of Supervisors tonight. Give them clarity of thought as we do business. Take us through this night, and what you do for us, we'll praise your name. Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. If everybody's looked over the agenda, consent agenda, look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
And moving second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. First on is reports, presentation of the CARES Act. Grayson County Small Business Recovery, Mr. Chris Butler. See you on there, Carl?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a few comments, and then I'll turn it over to you, with your permission. Okay, we are really excited to have gotten to this point here today. It's time for some good news for the people of Grayson County, and it's good time for good news for the people of the world overall. But we have some information that we want to share with you that has to do with the coronavirus. So let me walk you through it, the beginning part of it, and then I'm going to turn it over to some of our friends that have stepped forward and really helped us to make this into a reality. Just a quick overview of the coronavirus for Grayson County. March 11th, the pandemic was declared. On March 13th, we had a declaration of national emergency. March 17th, we had a declaration of local emergency here in Grayson County, and that is still in effect. On March 26th and 27th, the CARES Act passed the Senate and was signed into law. On May the 12th, local allocations for federal CARES relief funds notification was received. And on June the 1st, Grayson County CARES allocation was received here. The CARES Act of 2020, the coronavirus, CARES stands for the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act of 2020, provides funding for several different programs to address the COVID-19 pandemic. Grayson County, based on our population, our percentage of the population in the state of Virginia, received $1,356,678, again, based on the county's population, including our independent towns, in proportion to the total state population. Some examples of eligible uses of CARES funds include certain public facility, medical expenses related to the pandemic, public health expenses, payroll expenses for employees whose services are substantially dedicated to mitigating or responding to the COVID-19 public health emergency, expenses related to compliance with COVID-19 public health measures, and expenses associated with economic support in connection with the COVID-19 emergency. The understanding the details of funds, of the use of the funds and the eligibility of those funds is a science. And we've been lucky. I've asked Lisa Gayhart to step forward and help us lead the analysis of what is eligible and what is not eligible for us to utilize that money. And we've also brought on board an outstanding consultant, Deb Jones, who's working with us and working with Lisa on a regular basis to help us figure out all those unanswered questions that we have about, okay, what about this? Is this reimbursable? Is that reimbursable? And everything, if we take money from the coronavirus fund and contribute it to an area that turns out after audit to have not been eligible, we have to return that money. So we want to make sure that we have done everything as precisely as we possibly can, and not every rule has been written. So part of what's been happening is the state of Virginia has been, and particularly Virginia Tech, has been very helpful in helping us to answer those questions that sort of fall between the cracks, that you don't really know whether this is eligible or that is not eligible, and the state has helped us quite a bit to make that happen. There's been no better partner for us than the Virginia Association of Counties. They've done an outstanding job in helping us to understand how we can use funds that are available for counties and localities. When I talked about the examples of eligible uses of CARES funds, we talked about economic support. Well, tonight we're going to focus on that. And economic support in detail means expenditures related to the provision of grants to small businesses to reimburse the cost of business interruption caused by closures related to the pandemic. When we first received the CARES money, almost immediately after that money was received, I received a call from Chris Butler, who owns Eagle View Event Center. Many of you have met him. All of you have met him, actually. And Chris was kind enough to offer his assistance in helping us put together a committee to figure out how do we get the money from the coronavirus to the small businesses in as accurate and quick a way as possible. So other members of the public stepped forward to volunteer their services. Andy Anderson of Anderson Insurance Agency, Aaron Cox from Virginia Tech Extension and 4-H, and Elizabeth Hash from Skyline National Bank. These 4 volunteers have worked diligently with us for, I think it's probably been close to 2 months now. Is that right, Lisa? And in addition to those 4 volunteers, I of course have worked with the group, but Lisa Gayhart has been a real leader of it from the county side. Carl Caudell has helped us tremendously, and Deborah Jones, as I mentioned earlier. This committee came together. We studied the rules. We worked on the details that you're going to hear from Chris Butler in just a second. Again, they devoted their time without any expectation of reimbursement or pay. They just wanted to help the Grayson County, which is exactly the reason why I live here, is the people of Grayson County take care of one another. And this is a perfect example of that, stepping forward to devote their time to providing or creating an excellent response for us to be able to distribute money back to the small businesses of Grayson County. So we formed a small business recovery committee, and that committee was made up of the people that are on that list that I just read to you, and Chris volunteered to be the chairman of that committee. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to him and let him walk you through what the committee has come up with and what we're recommending to the board tonight. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Shepley. I appreciate that greatly. And I'm going to see here, Carl, if you could let me share my screen. I'm going to run through these slides myself, if you don't mind. But while we are, there we go. Carl's going to let me share that, and I'm going to bring this up. While we do that, I certainly want to echo what Mr. Shepley said, and in case we have people listening from the community, I want to also say those names again because from the county, Bill Shepley, Lisa Gayhart, Deborah Jones, and Carl Caudell, and then from private sector, Andy Anderson, Elizabeth Hash, and Aaron Cox. I certainly want everybody to know, if you don't already, that with people like this, Grayson County truly is in good hands for the future, because I have been lucky enough to be in business now for more than 15 years, and I have never worked with a better group of individuals, people who go out and put out information so that all of them throw out their information, ask questions, give us their opinion, and no one ever holds back or hides anything, and a very selfless group. So I want to thank everybody. As we go through this and we look through what we wanted to accomplish, as Mr. Shepley said, there was the opportunity to get a grant out to businesses, local businesses, from the CARES Act money. And therefore, we met and figured out how we could get this CARES Act grant together. One of the first questions would be, why is this CARES Act grant needed? You know, there was a lot of different things from the government that came out that, like the Paycheck Protection Program, which we talk about here, and over 100 Grayson County businesses applied for that. It really was probably closer to 150 that applied for that Paycheck Protection Program. However, I got a lot of calls from businesses in Grayson County that were, we called them micro businesses, that were not eligible or didn't meet the requirements. And why would someone not meet the requirements of the Paycheck Protection Program? Some of those, for your information, could be they were a rental property and they file a Schedule E. They're not eligible. A sole proprietor who files a Schedule C or Schedule F and shows a loss, they are not eligible. Partnerships that show a loss, and S-corps that do not pay themselves a salary. All of those people are ineligible. And then some of them put it in and they ran out of money, and some got discouraged, didn't realize that they could get back in maybe in some way. And then some other businesses just didn't get enough money from the Paycheck Protection Program through no fault of Skyline or any of the banks, through no fault of the government. It's just because they were they didn't have that many employees, and they didn't get the money that they needed. To give you a couple examples of that, there's a business in Grayson County that shut down due to COVID, and they got no money during that shutdown. They got no money from the Paycheck Protection Program. They still had rent. They still had utilities. All the product that they had in their business went bad. They're now back open, but they're back open at about 2/3 capacity. They've had to rebuy all of those products. They're working daily to wipe everything down constantly to comply with what the governor has put in and what is safe for their customers. However, all of that comes at a cost. And so, you know, that business certainly could use the help. There's another business in Grayson County, a professional cleaning business, that did get PPP funds. However, they didn't get a lot. And PPP was designed to help keep your current employees working. In this business's case, they were requested by large companies that they were doing cleaning for to go from 4 employees to 15 employees because now each shift needed more employees. Each shift they had to have 3 people instead of 1 person there, and so on. And that person, you know, carried those salaries for 90 days. They're on a 90-day pay with these larger companies. And really, they had $50,000 in expenses that they had to carry during that time. Can we make them whole? Certainly, we cannot make them whole, but we can to a person. Every business person that I talked to, and I didn't put my 2 cents in when I talked to them, but I will back this 100%, said to me, every dollar helps. It doesn't matter how much you can give us. Every dollar helps in making ends meet during this time. And so that's why we wanted to get this out and why we felt this was needed. So what the Small Business Recovery recommends to the board tonight is that we ask the Grayson County Board of Supervisors to allocate $300,000 from the CARES Act monies to support local businesses. The first question I would have if I were sitting there with you would be, why $300,000? How did you come up with that number? As we did some studies of counties around Virginia and around other areas, we are finding that they are allocating between 17 and 27% of the money that they get to small businesses. In this case, we looked at Mr. Shepley's number of $1,356,678, and we split that right down the middle and said, let's look at 22% of that. 22% of that got us to $300,000. From there, we looked at what can we do with that $300,000. We started to look at the fact that $3,000 was a good number. It's up to $3,000 that people can apply for. You'll see that in just a minute. But then we knew, or we had hoped, that we could help 100 businesses with up to $3,000. It could be more. And really looking at what businesses were hoping to get, and talking to some of the businesses, a lot of them said, man, if I could get $2,000 to $3,000, if I could get $3,000 to $4,000. And a lot of them stayed in that $3,000 range, and it fit well into the $300,000, and that's how we came up with the $3,000. Businesses must meet the following requirements, and I'm going to bring up that form now, just the information form that we have put together, and how so that we can get it out to everyone in Grayson County. Again, you can see it on the screen, but support for Grayson County impacted by COVID-19. They'll be made available in Grayson County starting July 15th, should the board approve this tonight, in the amount of up to $3,000, can be used for critical operating expenses. You'll see here in a few minutes what those operating expenses are, and to offset the costs of the shutdown. Who is eligible? Any business that was in operation prior to February 15th, 2020. We took that information right from the Paycheck Protection Program and made it the same. Business must be based in Grayson County, obviously. Both community and home-based businesses. Businesses with 25 or less employees across all locations. And we wanted to tailor this to the small businesses of Grayson County. Businesses that have not already received Paycheck Protection funds will be granted first priority. However, all businesses that meet the requirements will be eligible. A business has to be in good standing with the State Corporation Commission, their annual fees as applicable. A business that either has to have an EIN on file, or they must file a Schedule C, Schedule E, or Schedule F tax form. And then all businesses must be up to date with Grayson County taxes. So we'll look in just a minute on how to apply. All of the information will be on the form, on the application form on how to apply for these funds. We'll go back to sharing my screen real quick. How do we plan to make this happen? Erin Cox, who is on the call tonight. Erin most of you know her. She's been in before this committee, I'm sure, many times for 4-H, for Grayson County 4-H. She is going to split her time between 4-H and between the county as the Grayson County Small Business Recovery Coordinator. So Erin will be, once this, if again, we are lucky enough to have this approved tonight, Erin will go into that role starting tomorrow. And with that, she will take all these requests and work them through. She'll be approving them if she has questions. She will be coming to the board. She'll be coming to the county and asking questions. Assuming approval tonight, advertisements will begin immediately. We're going to put advertisements on radio, 96.5, 98.1. They have given me a rate that basically is half price. If you buy one ad, they're going to give us another. They're going to allow us to come into the studios and do a 2 to 5 minute interview with them so that the information can get out and everybody hopefully can hear it through there. We'll have newspaper. We'll have sponsored Facebook ads, which will serve multiple purposes. One being that, we can tailor this right to Grayson County. They have to have a Grayson County address to see the ad. And so it is, Facebook sponsored ads do a tremendous job in targeting audiences. And I'm going to allow that to go out. That's really at $5 a day is all that normally costs. And gets a pretty good feedback on that. I'm going to allow that to go out not only to business owners in Grayson County, but I'm going to allow that to go out to every person who has a Facebook in Grayson County, because I want them to, in marketing, I've told you guys this many times when I've been before this board, in marketing, you make invisible things visible. and I want people of Grayson County to see what Grayson County is doing for small businesses. And so we don't just tailor that to the business, we're going to tailor that to everyone. Also, we want to put a blast email out from Tracy Cornett in the Grayson County Tourism. She has been doing a great job of getting emails out to everybody and letting them know to the businesses in Grayson County and letting them know what's going on. That will reach all of the businesses and get them out. And also, we're going to ask Laura Witt at the Chamber of Commerce to do a blast email for us as well. Applications will begin on July 15th for businesses that did not receive PPP funds. That gives us about 5 days to get some advertisements out, let everybody know what's coming, and let them get this information in front of them and soak it up. All other eligible businesses can start applying on July 17th. And the forms that they will be utilizing to apply for this is on the screen now in front of you. And I want to run through this so that the board knows, because again, we're asking for a lot of money, exactly what it is that we will be asking of people and how we will be asking them to put this information together. We are asking for, obviously, their full name, the date, their information, their phone number, the precise business name and description of work. We need the precise business name because we are going to look it up on the SCC website to make sure that they are in good standing, although we do ask them that below. Is your business located in Grayson County? Was your business in operation prior to February 15th, 2020? Does your business have 25 or less employees across all locations? Did you receive PPP funds? We are not asking how much, but we are prioritizing based off of that, and we've told them that earlier. Is your business currently paying current in paying county taxes? Do you have a business EIN, if applicable? Yes or no, and we get that number. Is your business in good standing with the SCC? They'll tell us yes or no, but we're going to double check that on the website. If you do not have an EIN for your business, do you file a Schedule C, E, or F tax form? And if yes, then we ask them to provide a copy of their most recent tax return form so that we know. And those questions right in there, do they have an EIN? You can have an EIN and not have it be in good standing because your business may have gone out of business or lapsed. And so we want to make sure that we're not getting money into the hands of businesses that that are not going to be able to utilize it well. So therefore, we want, that's why we ask if we can have if you're in good standing with the SCC and if we can have a copy of the tax form. Please give a summary of how your business has been impacted by COVID. We just ask them to give some basic information there, and then awards are granted up to $3,000. Please indicate how much funding your business needs. Work with them. Circle one of those, and there are businesses that said to me, listen, if I could just get $1,500, I'd make it. I think we will see the majority of businesses ask for $3,000 based off of the ability to get it, but there will be some that will be that may ask for less, and if that's the case, that's great. The reason that we don't just want to blast the $3,000 out, and that was my original recommendation. And this is one of the conversations that took place on the committee that to me was just great back and forth for the committee. And really what we decided was, and you'll see in just a minute, that they're going to have to document how they utilize this money. We don't want people forging or fraudulently taking this money and having to come up with ways that they spent it. Maybe they only need $1,500. And so they can certainly ask for that. The following items are approved expenses under the CARES Act. We ask them to estimate how the funds that they receive will be used. All expenses must have occurred after March 1st, 2020 and before December 30th, 2020. You can utilize things such as rent, payroll, employee benefits, utilities, marketing, vendor payments, equipment purchase or lease, supplies, and software. Got equipment on there. Oh, I guess equipment to buy there. So we've got lease, but we do have equipment on there twice as I see that. It is a requirement that everyone will fill out a W-9 that will be attached to this application, and then they will certify that their answers are true, and if approved, they understand false or misleading information may cause them to pay back this information or this grant. Applications can be submitted via email to caresact@graysoncountyva.gov, or applications can be picked up and dropped off in the designated drop box at the Grayson County Extension Office, 122 Davis Street, Independence, Virginia, 24348. We will have, those are the only two ways that people can apply, is via email or come in and pick up the application. Someone may ask here, why don't you have the ability to mail it? It is our opinion that if we allow people to mail applications, that as we get close to running out of money, we could have people say, well, hey, I can't help you ran out of money. I mailed my application on Monday and it didn't get there till Friday. I can't help the mail. We don't want to put ourselves in that situation. We want to have them, they're either going to email it or they're going to drop it off, and then they will be put into the system from there. This page is for them to keep their records only. We will not ask them to turn in records, but we do ask them to be prepared to document all funds per the chart below, how they were spent, and to keep these receipts for a period of 5 years should we give them this money. And again, it goes off of the information above, when they made the expense, how much, who they paid, was a receipt attached, and then just a description of what they did. And so with that, I will, that is, let me go back here. That is all that I had, and I will answer any of your questions that you guys have. And I thank you again for your time tonight, and I thank Mr. Shepley for the time to put all this together.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Any questions?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I have a couple of, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
This one is really a recommendation. I think on the bottom of page 3, you mentioned dropping it off at the cooperative extension. Maybe change that to the Gate Center. Don't want to put the cooperative extension folks in any sort of situation that implies endorsement. And so maybe change that to the Gate Center. The next one is on your expenditures. Are the costs that you're going to incur associated with marketing, are those reimbursable through the CARES Act?
They are, yes, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Shepley. Yes, Mr. Shepley asked that question last night to Lisa and Deb. I stepped on you there, Mr. Shepley. Go ahead.
That's okay. Hey, Lisa, would you fill them in on that?
Yes. Deb specifically has looked into this because it is associated with economic recovery for the small businesses, the marketing expense to make sure that they know that this money is occurred, this grant opportunity is available, and yes, it would be covered under the CARES Act as a qualifying expense.
Okay, so I think there's a little bit of breakup there, but I think the answer is yes, it's recoverable under the CARES Act for those expenses.
Yeah, and John, this is Deb Jones, by the way. Just so you know, the reason that we listed everything that you see here is because they have been deemed eligible expenses for the small businesses to be recovered. We didn't leave it blank. We made it so that it had to fit in one of those categories for them to be able to be reimbursed.
Yeah, the list, I'm not talking about the list that the applicants, I'm talking about the costs that we to implement this program are going to incur.
Sure.
Those
okay.
costs.
Sorry. And yes, the answer is yes.
Okay. Next question is, since we're asking Mrs. Cox to do something other than what she's normally doing, is her portion of the salary dedicated to this small business recovery program reimbursable by the CARES Act?
Yes, Supervisor Fenn, I was going to talk about that in a second, but we'll go ahead. Danny Peak with, Extension, and of course, Aaron Cox as the person that's doing this, we had a couple of calls in which we talked with Danny about trying to, utilize the good work of Aaron to help us get through this process, and with her having a little bit of a downtime with the coronavirus, we just were asking Virginia Tech if they would step forward and help out, and he very kindly offered to have her work with us, until we can get this. It's not a permanent thing, but he has volunteered to let her work with us. If there's a need to reimburse, the reimbursement is eligible through the CARES Act money. So right now, he has not requested a reimbursement. We're going to monitor how much of her time is needed, and we're going to come back together again in a month and see if there's any sort of change that may need to be made to the arrangement based on how many hours she has to actually put in. But if there is a need to reimburse her, it is eligible through the CARES Act. And I want to, in particular, point out the contribution of Virginia Tech to helping us to make this happen. And also, I want to point out Skyline Bank, too. Skyline Bank has gone the extra mile, and Skyline Bank has been recognized nationally as one of the leading banks in supporting businesses during the coronavirus. And Elizabeth has been one of the key people that has helped to make that into reality. So thank you so much for that from the two of you all. But hopefully that answers your question, Supervisor Fan.
Yeah, it does. And I know Tech has been helping out in a lot of different areas. So that back to the very first comment, I'm not saying that they're not supporting. It's just that I think that facility is known by a different name, and that would also clarify, maybe a little bit about where to take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The last question I think I have, and the answer to this probably will be deferred until the end of the presentation, but I'm interested in potentially looking at a larger number than the 300K, but I understand the rationale. It all makes sense, good logic. But when we get to this, when we look at the other potential expenditures, given that our economy is really what we've got to focus on going forward, there may be opportunity to adjust that 300K, in my opinion, but we'll see what plays out. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thanks.
And Mr. Fan, to answer or to that point, there is the opportunity, and it could be that it goes quicker than this. I think we have to let you guys, we have to let you know there is an opportunity to, if we can't have that money immediately, that we come back to you with an update in 30 days so that we can see where we are and continue to do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mr. Chairman, I really want to point out in particular the work that Chris Butler has put into helping us get to this point. I mean, as he said, it's no exaggeration that this team of people that have worked on this is one of the best teams that all of us have worked with. There's just a dynamic between the team that everybody contributed, and everybody, no one just rubber stamped anything. We looked at every angle that we could think of. Plus, we added in what we could pick up from the state and from our regional groups to make this happen. But the person that has dedicated the most time to this from the outside world or from the non-county government world has definitely been Chris Butler, and we just want to let you know how much we appreciate it, Chris.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay, any more comments, questions? I'd like to be looking for a motion to approve the small business recovery.
1 minute. Not yet.
Not yet.
You've got to approve the CARES money first. That's after the public hearing.
Okay, so we're not going, we're going to wait till that then. After.
Yeah, then approve after after you've approved the CARES money.
Okay. All right. So, next will be not-for-profit organizations. Oh, I guess we better do public hearing. All right. I believe this mask is cutting my oxygen off. Okay. We're ready? Okay. I look for a motion to open public hearing to receive comments regarding proposed amendments to the county of Grayson's budget for FY 2021 restricted funds. I have a motion to public hearing, to hear a second.
Second, Fant.
Mr. Fant, okay. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We are in public hearing. Mr. Smith, did you have anything on? Can we,
No one here.
can we just go in and all, open the public hearing for all three and then close them at one at a time? Can we do that?
I think you,
Or we just need to close this public hearing and open another one? Okay.
you have to do it for.
I think you gotta do each one, yeah.
Okay. All right. We have no one on public hearing. I have a motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
So moved. I look for a motion to go into public hearing and receive comments regarding the updated language of the transportation chapter of the 2018 comprehension plan.
So moved.
Rebels, so moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We're in public hearing. Do we have anybody, Mr. Smith, on?
None.
We have none. So I look for a motion to come out of public hearing on transportation chapter.
So moved.
Mr. Revels, so made the motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hash. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we're out of that public hearing. Now, a motion to go in public hearing to receive comments regarding proposed ordinance to repeal the ordinance establishing a local Grayson County stormwater management program and revert administration of the stormwater program to the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye.
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 And we have no comments on the public hearing. Motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved. Second, Fant.
Second.
Fant, Mr. Fant, second. All in favor, aye.
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 And we are out of public hearing. Okay. So now, we need to go back to not-for-profit.
Yep.
Discuss, the not-for-profit organizations, Mr. Shepherd and Ms. Lisa Gable.
We have to vote, we have to have a motion and a second on each one of these public hearings about what we're about approving.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and I think, Ms. Black has some, information that you all might be interested in on the stormwater. But we have to have a motion to approve each one of us, that the board is going to approve each one of these.
Okay. Looking for a motion to approve the, amendments of the Grayson budget FY 2021 restricted funds.
So moved.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, aye.
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 So moved. Looking for a motion regarding the updated language of the transportation chapter of 2018 comprehension plan. Look for a motion to approve.
So moved, Fant. She wants to speak.
Who's gonna speak?
You want me to speak?
Chief, if the board
If you
has
have
any
any questions.
Do you have any questions for Ms. Black on the comprehension plan?
she's fair to speak, you do.
No.
Everybody good?
Everybody's good with what
Okay, so we have the motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
I'll make a second.
Favor aye?
Aye.
So moved. Next, motion to, yeah, stormwater. That was the next one, yeah. Do you need to talk on?
You want an update from me on where we stand and what's lacking?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, having a hard time hearing some of the folks. I hear you fine, but having a hard time hearing other folks in the room.
I cheated and put my mask down. I'm speaking right into the mic, so I think we'll get that cleared.
See if he can hear you, Jada.
Supervisor Fant, can you hear me? I'm at the mic at the podium.
I got you now. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so, for the update portion of stormwater, on, June 8th, 2020, our county attorney, prepared a letter to the Virginia Water Control Board, Office of Regulatory Affairs. This letter basically just stated that we are in the process of relinquishing our stormwater management program. That was sent to Ms. Heather Wood. She is the chair of the Virginia State Water Control Board. The other portions of our duties to actually repeal the process is to adopt the repeal ordinance. And that is actually should be in your documents tonight. So our attorney also drafted the repeal ordinance to state that we would no longer be a VSMP as of August 1st, 2020. After that specific date, it all goes back to the state. But until then, any stormwater program management plans that actually come in for review, as of tonight, if the ordinance is adopted, they will review any and all stormwater program plans. The only thing left after tonight is to basically for staff to transfer any physical records such as plans, inspection reports, variance requests, best management practices agreements, and any other paper records that we may have in-house. Any electronic records that we have back and forth between, site inspections or emails back and forth between the two contractor and staff, those also have to be put on a CD and sent back. And then lastly, we as staff and DEQ, closer to the August 1st date, will get together and we'll do site visits for all the open inspections. And that will be it. And if we adopt this tonight, then August 1st will be the last day that we will have any thing to do with stormwater. That does not negate, though, the fact that we still have to do erosion and sediment control reviews and inspections.
Okay, do you have any questions for Ms. Black?
Mr. Chairman, Fant, I remember, I think when this whole thing came up, the analysis was that we only had like four cases or something in the most recent history where we had to review. Is my memory right on that?
Yes, Supervisor Fant, from 2014 until current, we have had 4 at the time. 2 have been added most recently, which is the Food City, the Food City down here, and there was a hazard mitigation bank grant that they're looking to do stormwater credits, and we actually had that one reviewed by DEQ. Food City is being reviewed by our neighboring Smith County. Mr. Clegg Williams has graciously decided that he would help us in our stormwater management plan review process. So we currently have, if you count those 2, we've got 6.
Right. So somebody submits a plan. Is there a difference now in anticipated increase in processing time as a result of it having to go to the state versus us?
Yes, sir. There will definitely be a longer period to wait, and that as a county, we all need to be aware of that. In addition to erosion and sediment control plans now have to be reviewed by third party as well. So basically there is going to be additional time wait, but as a county and staff, if we know of projects that are going to require these items, stormwater is anything over an acre, then we need to be the ones in the initial stages stating this up front that, hey, these stormwater plans need to be sent in early, and they do have to go to DEQ, and they will go in queue, and they get reviewed in the time of how they are in queue. So say you've got 30 plans ahead of you, you've got to be that 31st plan. But the plans from Southwest Virginia, they have it's my understanding from Kelly Miller, they have a 30-day review process. So if they submit the first, then they're going to know something at least by the 30th.
And so given that, it's still worth doing?
Yes, sir.
Just because of our staffing?
Because of staffing, yes, sir.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Chairman.
We have tried to take this proactive approach, for example, with Food City and their stormwater project, and we've reached out to them and have told them how important it is that we stay ahead of the game with them as they do things. So we have we've done that with Food City, and it's been appreciated on their part and our part. Move this project along, that they understand that. So, well said, Ms. Black.
Mr. Chairman, one last question. What's the marketing plan? The marketing may not be the right word, but to get everybody aware of this, other than just publishing it, is there some other method or something we need to undertake about this change? Granted, we don't have a lot of them, but how do we get the word out?
As administration, we all need to be involved in the initial stages of any kind of development that's going on in the county. That way, erosion and sediment control staff will be able to notify that particular investor that we definitely need to take a look at this and let them know ahead of time that any plans that need to be submitted for stormwater have to go now back to the state. In addition, we also need to get this on our website and let that be known to the general public that stormwater now is back to the state.
Supervisor Fant, one of the things, and actually the board, one of the things that we've been working on and we're real proud of is that in the past, as new opportunities come before the county, they come in from different directions, and sometimes they'll go a long ways before we include the rest of the people that need to be included in order to make sure that everyone in the process is on board, and we make sure that they know what they need to do from day one. And one of the things we've worked on extensively, and particularly in the last 4 months, I guess, has been to make sure that we're keeping each other abreast from the very beginning of any new possibility of someone coming into the county or building a new facility or extending something that they've already got, so that everybody's on board from day one, and we're able to do things like what Ms. Black was talking about letting them know you need to get your ducks in a row on this so that there's not a delay. So one of the things that we're trying to do is be much more customer service oriented than we've been in the past. And this is one piece of 10 or 15 pieces that is going to be a little bit slower. The good thing is all the others, the way we've worked it out, are going to be much faster and smoother. So overall, we think we've got a tremendous plan that will make building in Grayson County much more streamlined.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve the, proposed ordinance to repeal the ordinance establishing local Grayson County Stormwater Management Program.
So moved.
So moved, Fant.
And have a second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, Ms. Black, for the info.
Thanks, Janet.
Okay. Now, do we go back to non-profit? Okay.
Can we go back a little further and go to the,
Small
Adopting
business.
the CARES Act.
Okay, so we need a motion on the small business recovery.
Yes, now we can do that.
Looking for a motion to approve Grayson County Small Business Recovery.
So moved.
Second. Third.
Second and third. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
that's a good. deal.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Now, for profit.
Yes, we just want to talk about this briefly. One of the things that we are pleased with is that we discovered within the CARES plan that we will be able to help not-for-profit food banks with some money to be able to help them continue to provide the much-needed food that is needed always, but it's needed in particular during this time when we have so many people that are unemployed. Is there anything that you want to add to that part, Ms. Gaylor?
Yeah, not just the food banks, but the nonprofits throughout the county, whether for whatever service that they provide to our citizens. That will be our next step. Not only are we looking at CARES Act, but we're looking at leveraging CARES Act with a grant through the Department of Homeland, DHCD, the Department of Community and Development. Yes, thank you. Leveraging our CARES dollars with other grant monies throughout, available through the state to impact as many nonprofits as absolutely possible. That is one of the things that we're looking into now. So, and that would include even our fire rescues. We're looking at them. I've asked for each agency to report if they've missed or had to cancel fundraisers, to let me know what is that average, a 3 to 5 year average. I don't want a number drawn out of a hat. This has to go through audit. So we need good numbers to back those requests up, or that lost revenue that those nonprofits have done, because they are a vital business within the county.
In addition, we're very pleased that after a lot of discussion to try to figure out exactly what was eligible, we know that we can provide some money for those workers in our county that are on the front lines, providing services to people that could potentially have the coronavirus, and people at the highest risk, and what they're calling it, hazardous work.
Yep.
Related to the coronavirus. In our county, and Ms. Gayhart, chime in if I leave anybody out on this, but we've defined that based on everything that we have read and everything we've heard from our surrounding counties and throughout the state and the country, is that the Sheriff's Department should be eligible, Department of Social Services, Public Works, our first responders, and our maintenance and janitors within the county that are having to clean surfaces. And what we're doing is we're going to be meeting with the heads of those various departments or entities to talk about a standard hazard pay number. It doesn't vary depending on the organization. It'll be the same for all. Can you tell them a little bit about that, Ms. Gaynor?
Yes, just a little bit briefly. Again, Dr. Deborah Jones is helping us with that research. She has done, there's a minimum sort of but yet at the same time, there's a maximum. So we have to be careful with the wide range of pay rates that each of these individuals receive, that we don't hit a maximum for one, but yet don't hit a minimum for another. So this meeting that we're going to have jointly will help establish that common number throughout each department. It will be a number per hour worked, so it will be based on hours worked. It cannot be a stipend or a bonus, so to speak. It must be based on the hours that they have spent in the field.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, Fant, quick question. When you were talking about the categories of who you think are eligible, example, janitors and cafeteria workers for the school system, are they included? Is anybody in the school system included in this?
The school, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, Ms. Hare, but the school system has received CARES Act money separately from what the county received.
Okay.
So that, the school system would be eligible to, I guess, would be eligible to provide that in the same way that we're providing it to our people, but it would come from that fund that they received.
Right, and
okay.
I cannot refer to their guidelines. I have not looked at the school's guidelines.
Okay. But they've got their own pot of money, so that's good. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else? So we'll look for a motion to approve the not-for-profit and the hazard pay combined. Hear a motion to approve.
So moved.
Here's a second.
Second.
Ms. Rebel, second. All in favor, aye.
Uh,
Thank you very much.
And good work, you staff. There's a lot of work in that, and I know you pulled your hair out trying to figure out who can get money and who can't. But this will be good. Okay. All right, we're moving to new business. And first up is a resolution of VDOT, secondary 6-year round road plan and rustic roads.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a resolution in support of Virginia Department of Transportation secondary 6-year road plan. Can you hear me okay on the phone?
check.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Whereas sections 33.1-23 and 33.1-23.4 of the 1950 Code of Virginia as amended provides the opportunity for each county to work with the Virginia Department of Transportation in developing a secondary 6-year road plan, whereas this board had previously agreed to assist in the preparation of this plan in accordance with the Virginia Department of Transportation policies and procedures, and participated in a public hearing on the proposed plans 2020-2021 through 2025-2026, as well as the construction priority list 2020-2021 on June 25th, after duly advertised so that all citizens of the county had the opportunity to participate in said hearing and to make comments and recommendations concerning the proposed plan and priority list, whereas Andy Fowler, Litchfield Residency Administrator of the Virginia Department of Transportation, appeared before the board and recommended approval of the 6-year plan for secondary roads 2020-2021 through 2025-2026, and the construction priority list 2020-2021 for Grayson County, Virginia. Now therefore be it resolved that since said plan appears to be in the best interest of the secondary road system in Grayson County and of the citizens residing on the secondary system, said secondary 6-year plan 2020-2021 through 2025-2026 and construction priority list 2020-2021 are hereby approved as presented at the public hearing, adopted this 9th day of July 2020 in Grayson County, Virginia.
Okay. Look for a motion to approve or just resolution. We have a roll call. Look for motion.
So moved.
Mr. Rebels.
Second.
Mr. Hayes, second. A roll call vote. Mr. Rebels.
Aye.
Mr. Fant,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mr. Hash,
Aye.
and I also aye. So, resolution approved.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I might point out too, that, and looking, taking notes and looking through our stuff, that should have been a roll call vote on repealing that Grayson County Stormwater Management Program, the ordinance. Should have been a roll call
Okay.
vote.
Well, we ain't left yet. You're good. Hey, did you hear that, Mr. Fant, Mr. Revels?
Yes.
Check.
Okay. We're gonna back up and on the, roll call vote on the stormwater. So, Mr. Revels,
Aye.
Mr. Fant,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mr. Hash,
Aye.
and I also aye. So we got that. Cool. Okay, next is the resolution of smart scale project submissions for 5894 turn lane improvement and US 58-622, which is Delhart Road turn lane improvement project. Did you share with me?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm just trying to make sure that we got these in the right order.
Is that project 0058? That's one.
We're talking about smart scale.
Our resolution, SR 94 and SR 622?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
This move on. Okay, on number 5. That's the resolution you just read. And then there's another resolution. This is another resolution we'll have to read before we go.
The one that we just mentioned is,
Rouse off.
that's what I hear.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Resolution, whereas section 33.2-332 of the Code of Virginia permits the hard surfacing of certain unpaved roads deemed to qualify for designation as a rural rustic road, and whereas any such road must be located in a low-density development area and have no more than 1,500 vehicles per day.
No.
You're all wrong.
That's,
It's not that one.
It's Route 740 resolution.
For that. Smart scale.
I'm sorry, yeah.
You want to jump to that one, since you have it?
we have that on.
Smart scale submission, correct?
Yes, and we should have 2 resolutions. And they're both worded very similar. The only difference is one will say US 58 and Delhart, State Route 622, and US 58 and State
Got it,
Route 94.
I got it. Thank you. Sorry about that again.
It's fine.
Resolution in support of Virginia's smart scale project submissions. Whereas the Grayson County Board of Supervisors recognizes the importance of prioritizing transportation projects for funding by the Commonwealth Transportation Board based on an objective and fair analysis applied statewide as set forth in the General Assembly's House Bill 2, effective as of July 1st, 2014, and whereas the Grayson County Board of Supervisors recognizes the new transportation funding formula set forth in House Bill 1887 and approved by the Virginia General Assembly in February 2015, and the high priority program is defined in 33.2-370 as a statewide competitive funding program, and the Highway Construction District Grant Programs as defined in 33.2-371 as the Bristol District Competitive Funding Program, and whereas the Smart Scale, formerly known as HB2 project, identified within Grayson County as the US 58 at State Road 622 Delhart Road Turn Lane Improvements Project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Grayson County Board of Supervisors hereby approves and supports Grayson County, Virginia's submission of the aforementioned project via the candidate project pre-application submission deadline of April 3rd, 2020, and a full application submission deadline of August 2020. Furthermore, the Grayson County Board of Supervisors does encourage and implore the Commonwealth Transportation Board and the Virginia Department of Transportation to fund this project and supports all such efforts. Adopted this 9th day of July, 2020, in the county of Grayson, Virginia.
Okay. If you want to do both can we do both resolutions on the other one?
Yes.
Can we approve both on at the same time?
Can we do that?
The resolution's the same except for the road.
I know, but there's another one for, Wallen Creek. We'll just
do each individual.
each do each? Okay. What we're gonna do is vote on the resolution on the smart scale for Route 94 and 58 and the Delhart Road, and, which is 622 and 58. Hear a motion?
So,
And second.
Second.
Roll call vote on this one. Ms. Reynolds, Mr. Fant, Ms. Sullivan,
Aye.
Mr. Hash,
aye.
and also aye. So, resolution approved.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the resolution for VDOT project. The Route 740, I think that's Wallen Creek.
Okay. Jada,
That's the one that we were talking about. That's the one, that's second. J2. I did have.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Shepley, this is Chris Butler. I was going to ask one more question. I apologize. I dropped and I wanted to ask one more question of the board very quickly, and then I can leave you guys alone if I could.
Okay, go ahead.
Now that this has been approved, the Small Business Recovery Committee has a Facebook page. And we're working on a time limit here since this is going to go from today to the 15th where we start taking applications. Am I allowed to start, am I allowed to announce this immediately, or is there any restrictions in announcing this immediately, at least to get it out via Facebook and let people start sharing it while we work on advertisements?
We're ready to roll.
Okay. Thank you so much. I didn't want to go sideways of anyone. I wanted that permission first, but I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, it looks like we do not have that resolution.
It's not the one.
It's the one for 740.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, we will need to table that until the August meeting. I apologize.
We do have the three resolutions though on the board.
Mr. Shepley,
Yes.
is tabling that going to have any potential impact on that proceeding this fiscal year?
We need Jada to answer that.
Smith.
Yes.
This is what I've got, it has 740, that's where the letter,
Yeah,
resolution.
that's what we need. Is that the letter on?
Yeah, the letter's right below, the resolution's right below the letter.
Yes.
Okay.
And you use this.
We don't have it in our packet. Yeah. I can't find it.
No, you're on the
I'm wrong. I was looking at the other one a minute ago.
Okay.
But if you've got it, we need to go ahead and take action. Right, there it is.
Yeah,
That's it.
If he can,
it's right there.
and we also have the resolutions on the, 6-year plan that we're at. The Grouse Hall Road resolution, the Cold Springs Road resolution, and the Cornerstone resolution that we'll have to bring into the 6-year plan.
That should have been on our first resolution, though, shouldn't it? Those three? It's not.
Right there.
About to get confused.
Can you scroll down, Carl?
There you go.
There's the one, no, that's 58.
That's Wallens Creek and 58.
This is the project.
No, we need one from Wallens Creek.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
If that's 740 Wallens Creek.
740.
Okay. Then we've had it all along, but not seeing the 740 in it.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I apologize. So, let's go ahead and read this resolution. Resolution for highway system changes resulting from the construction of Virginia Department of Transportation VDOT project 0058-038-799C. Whereas the Virginia Department of Transportation constructed Route 58 on a new alignment under projects 0058-038-799C circa 1937, and whereas the roadway constructed under project 0058-038-799C was subsequently renumbered from Route 58 to Route 16 circa 1939, and whereas the project sketch in VDOT form AM 4.3 attached and incorporated herein as a part of this resolution defines adjustments required in the primary and secondary systems of state highways as a result of that construction, and now therefore be it resolved, the Grayson County Board of Supervisors request that segments A, B be transferred from the primary system of state highways to the secondary system of state highways and accordingly renumbered as a part of the secondary system of state highways pursuant to 33.2-315 of the Code of Virginia, and be it finally resolved, the Grayson County Board of Supervisors orders that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded to the resident engineer for the Virginia Department of Transportation, adopted this 9th day of July 2020 in the county of Grayson, Virginia.
Okay, look for motion to pass this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second on, and this will be roll call. Mr. Rebels,
Aye.
Mr. Fant, Ms. Sutherland, Cash, and also aye. So that resolution passed.
Mr. Chairman, what you passed on the resolution on number 5 was for, was for the secondary 6-year plan.
Correct.
Okay, well, in that plan, there are 3 resolutions that the board chose to add. The money that, was added last year. So when Mr. Fowler was here, and you all chose those 3 roads to go into the system, we have a resolution on each one of those roads that has to go into the system also. So I would recommend that you read one resolution, and it's basically the same resolution, but it's Route 632, just like hers. It's Route 701 Cornerstone Road, and,
Cold Springs, Cornerstone and Grouse Hall.
and Grouse
That's
Hall,
in that
Route
first resolution that we already passed.
615. Each one of these have their own separate resolutions. So however the board wants to handle that, adding it, but they each have their own resolution. So, and it says the very same wording. It's just basically taking those roads into the system on their own resolution. Right.
Okay, but that was our first resolution that we did roll call and passed, but we need to add these, make sure these roads are added to it.
Yeah.
Which is 615 Bells Hollow, 632 Cold Springs Road, and Route 701 Cornerstone Road is to be added in our first resolution that we did roll call. So we're gonna have to do it again.
No, they're not added. That's a 6-year plan resolution that you passed. Now, each one of those roads that you just called, and this is being recorded, so I don't think there'll be any questions in what we're at. But each one of those roads that you just called out, Mr. Chairman, has its own resolution.
Okay, I took it was on our first.
Yeah, and if they have their own place for everybody to do a roll call vote on each road. And
Okay.
that's what the VDOT system will require, is a roll call vote on each one of those, so. I mean, it's gonna be on the recording, we've named them, however you wanna handle it.
Mr. Chairman, could I make a motion that they jointly be, voted on?
Okay, we have a motion, put all 3 roads on one vote, resolution. Can I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. We're voting on Grouse Hollow, Cold Springs Road, Cornerstone Road, roll call vote, Mr. Evans. Mr. Fant. Ms. Sullivan.
Aye.
Mr. Ash.
Aye.
And also aye. So they are added to the 6-year plan.
Thank you. That'll take care of it.
All right. Take these masks cutting off circulation. What's going on here? Next is our board appointment list. Get that up. Okay, and we have our Grayson County Senior Advocacy Committee, and we have Nancy. You want to go over this, or you want me to? Sure. Okay, we have Nancy Liebert is willing to serve, continue to serve. Kate Irwin will continue to serve. Dan Boyer will continue to serve. Mr. Fant, your term expires August 10th. Are you willing to?
I'll stay.
You'll say. Other than that, we have a Sylvia Martin that does not wish to renew her term. Do we have anybody that's going to take her place, you know?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the bylaws for that committee says we can have anywhere from 3 to 5 citizens serving on it. As you can see, I'm the board rep and Dan Boyer is the planning commission rep. But we only have 2, with Sylvia Martin stepping down, we only have 2 citizens that remain on that committee. So we need at least 1, but we prefer to have 3 more. And again, this committee is advocating for issues associated with aging populations. It's done a lot of work specifically with the whole federally qualified health clinic initiative came out of this committee 2-3 years ago. And so it's doing a lot of good work, and the AARP work connection we've made is really paying off for us. Bill can probably say more about that, but it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's AARP eligible to be on this committee, if you get my drift. But but we would like to have some folks that are interested in working on those type issues as we advocate for solutions that can help Grayson be more conducive to getting old in.
Mr. Chairman, as Supervisor Dan said, I mean, this has been a great committee. They've been very active. People that are on the committee feel passionate about what they're doing, and they've helped us to be selected by AARP as one of the rural lab candidates for working closely with other rural counties throughout the United States on possible projects. We're going to be presenting on Supervisor Fant is going to be presenting to the rest of the group on what's happened with broadband. And this is certainly a committee we need to continue, and it would be good to get someone that has that same level of commitment as the people that are participating on it. Okay, so we have 4 so we can go ahead and vote those 4 and then get out here and look for 3 more. Is that what we're saying? 2 more. You'd look for what, 1 more, Supervisor Fant?
Yeah, we need a minimum of 1 from the citizenry to make the committee, have a quorum. And so I agree, Mr. Chairman, we can appoint these other members. And then I would ask the other members of the board to look and see if somebody might be interested in serving. It's not a huge time commitment, but I think it's a valuable addition to the county.
Okay, so we'll look for a motion to approve Ms. Liebrick, Ms. Irwin, Mr. Boyer, and Mr. Fant.
So moved. Well, sorry, I'll abstain since I'm on the list.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
I appreciate everyone serving there, and then the rest of us, if we can find someone else to take Ms. Martin's place. Next is the Recreation Advisory Committee, and we have decided to not vote any of them in until we had a full slate, which now we do. From Elk Creek, we have Justin Dixon. Old Town, we have Seth Baker. Providence District, we have Miss Elizabeth Carico. Wilson District, Miss Bessie Sharon. And at large, John Alexander. Do I hear a motion or any comments or questions on those 5 citizens? Sounds like you're true.
Yeah.
So I look for a motion to approve all 5.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. That will get the, next is the personal property tax relief 2020.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is something that is renewed every year. And so if I could read that to you, then we're looking for,
basically, you're looking for a ratifying vote. It's something that happens, but the treasurer and the commissioner of revenue puts it forward to the board to approve it. Something that does through the car relief tax every year. And so it's already happened. It's basically a ratifying vote.
Okay.
so it's 2020 Grayson County Personal Property Tax Relief in accordance with the requirements set forth in section 58.1-3521-2 and section 58.1-3912E of the Code of Virginia as amended by Chapter 1 of the Acts of Assembly 2004 Special Session 1 and as set forth in item 503.E Personal Property Tax Relief Program of Chapter 951 of the 2005 Acts of Assembly. Any qualifying vehicle situs within the county commencing January 1st, 2020 shall receive personal property tax relief in the following manner. Personal use vehicles valued at $1,000 or less will be eligible for 100% tax relief of the 1997 levy. Personal use vehicles valued at $1,001 to $20,000 will be eligible for 50% tax relief of the 1997 levy. Personal use vehicles valued at $20,000 or more shall only receive 50% tax relief when the first $20,000 is valued and pursuant to authority conferred in item 503.d of the 2005 Appropriations Act, the county treasurer shall issue a supplemental personal property tax bill in the amount of 100% of tax due without regard to any former entitlement to state PPTRA relief, plus applicable penalties and interest to any taxpayer whose taxes with respect to a qualifying vehicle for tax year 2005 or any prior tax year remain unpaid on September 1, 2006, or such date as state funds for reimbursement of the state share of such bill have become unavailable, whichever comes first. Penalty and interest with respect to bills issued pursuant to this section shall be computed on the entire amount of tax owed. Interest shall be computed at the rate provided in section 9-51 from the original due date of the tax, based upon previous year's PPTRA numbers and our technical knowledge. This is the 2020 PPTRA rate, and it's signed by the Commissioner of Revenue for Grayson County and the Treasurer of Grayson County.
Okay. So look for a motion to approve this personal property tax relief.
Mr. Fant, I make a motion.
Thanks. Continuing the.
Continue to ratify and vote.
Right.
Mr. Fant made the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
So second, all in favor, aye? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, programs, projects, and updates, Mr. Shipley.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I want to explain to the board and to the public the Grayson County COVID-19 Phase 3 reopening process. And so if you bear with me, I'll walk you through what this actually means for Grayson County, remembering that we still are in a state of emergency. That was issued on March 17th. That's still in effect for Grayson County. And I've asked Paul Hoyle to help us put this together, and so I'm going to read what we have here. On the 6th of July, 2020, Grayson County took a major step in the COVID-19 recovery by entering Phase 3 of the recovery process. As there are variations in how each jurisdiction in the Commonwealth of Virginia approaches this step in the recovery, we want to give our citizens some of the specific steps that Grayson County is taking. First, all county government offices are reopened to the public except the Department of Social Services. Office hours are back to normal, and we are happy to be engaging with our citizens again on a more regular basis. As COVID-19 is still with us, we are taking appropriate precautions to protect our citizens and employees. Face masks covering the mouth and nose are required for everyone entering county facilities. Masks are available for anyone who does not have one. Ask an employee and one will be provided if you do not have one. We also have hand sanitizer available in all public spaces, offices, and restrooms, and encourage frequent use. Number 2, the Grayson County Department of Social Services, under the guidance of the Commonwealth of Virginia, will not be reopening their physical offices until the 4th of September, 2020. All services continue to be available by appointment by calling 276-773-2752. Third, the Grayson County Parks and Recreation. Most parks and recreation facilities and a few activities are slowly returning to operation with some restrictions. Golf fields and courts are available to the public, with the exception being tournament activities with reservations. The public pool is open to a capacity of 125 persons. To ensure appropriate social distancing, poolside furniture is not available, but citizens may bring their own for their visits. Little League activities are not available because of the inability to maintain social distancing. Number 4, Grayson County Public Works. Beginning on the 15th of July, 2020, all county recycling centers will reopen for cardboard, office paper, newspaper, shredded paper, magazines, aluminum cans, and steel of all types. Please note that number 1 and number 2 plastics may only be recycled at the the Public Works location at 1216 North Independence Avenue, Independence, Virginia. Number 5, Grayson County Public Library. The library continues to offer services online and by phone and offer pickup services by appointment only. Call 276-773-2761 for further information. And number 6, Grayson County Public Schools will open for the 2020-2021 school year on the 13th of August, 2020. Students will attend Monday through Thursday. School facilities will be cleaned on Fridays. Parents may also choose to continue remote learning until after Labor Day or the end of the first 9-week period if they so choose. We want to emphasize that we are able to take these actions because the actions taken to date by the citizens of Grayson County have worked well. You've helped to make our public health and safety a priority over convenience and comfort. Your efforts in social distancing, wearing masks in public settings, and frequent hand washing have helped to keep the number of positive COVID-19 cases in Grayson County low and manageable. Please remember that even as we progress through the reopening process, COVID-19 remains with us and continues to be a life-threatening illness for many who contract it. We must remain vigilant and not let our success to date let us become complacent, or we may find ourselves having to reconsider or reverse our reopening actions, as many of our neighboring states and communities are doing at present. Thank you for all that you have done and continue to do for each of your fellow citizens. Be safe, get outside, and please enjoy our summer in beautiful Grayson County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, next register speakers. Okay, we have one, Frank, I have to help me with the last name. Cruz. Okay. Can you come to the mic, please?
My name is Frank Cruzy. I am a volunteer EMT up in Rugby Rescue, and was instructed by June Barnes, who you all know here, and she's really the person who should be speaking. But I wanted to just briefly mention what I understand the issue to be, and really want to be available for any questions any members, any supervisors may have. There has been a challenge in rural counties throughout Virginia and elsewhere to get adequate training for volunteer EMTs to be able to staff the rescue squad throughout the county, particularly in the western areas of the county. June has been, to my knowledge, the only person who's done training for rescue squads for many years. And the state has worked very hard to figure out ways to be able to pay her at least a nominal amount of money for what is a major commitment of time on her part for classes. She has agreed to teach another class with an understanding that money which is made available through the state to the county should be able to be paid $3,000. $1,000 at the beginning of the class, which is scheduled to start with state approval on July 24th and run through October 27th, and then be paid $2,000 at the end, for a total of $3,000 for this major commitment. We currently have, before any announcements, public announcements of the class, 12 people from throughout the county that are interested already in attending this class. That really is the issue. We're available to answer the question. I say June is really the person more than I am to be able to answer any questions. But I will say that it is clear that there is, as you all know, a big need to continue to train EMTs. We worked with Mitch earlier this week, and he was very helpful to get this before the board for its consideration. But it is really important, I think, that we understand that even those who are beginning their classes at the end of this month are unlikely to be able to get into, a volunteer squad and be full-fledged, EMT, basic EMT, members until February of next year. It's a long process to get trained and then to pass the various tests that are required and get affiliated. But this is an important process to get underway, and we certainly would appreciate, your support, in moving this forward so we can continue to staff, and I would suggest one indication of how serious this is. The day that we met with Mitch this week, June went on an EMT, call requiring actually advanced life support on the way home, and then later that evening, June and I, among others, were out rescuing somebody who was in very serious shape on the Appalachian Trail. This afternoon, just before this meeting, June just returned from Marion after having brought somebody in on an ambulance as well. So there's a clear need. We're busy, and we need to get more volunteers. This will help enormously. I have to answer any questions you might have. If you don't, that's fine too.
Where will this class be held?
It will be held at the Grayson County School.
Okay. Questions? Okay. And you said it's gonna be when now, the date?
It's going to be July 24th, actually, it's in the paper, it's going to be in the paper tomorrow, the Gazette, and then the Declaration next 2 weeks. July 24th it starts, and we're going by the city guidelines, for state, so.
Time?
It's
Start time?
6:30 till 9:30.
So you already got 12 that signed up
Already got 12.
without the advertisement, that's cool.
Without any.
There's a clear need here, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We also need to get more instructors for EMT, I think, as well. We've been working closely with members of the county to get that. There's a project that's under consideration, which I don't know when that comes up, but it would help as well. We need more instructors, we need more volunteers to keep the system going.
Right.
Do you have a cutoff number or a number that you,
We have to have, we can't go over 30.
over 30? Okay.
And most of them have dropped down some of the times, you know, so it's not what they want. But if we can, I'm happy with 10 to 15 good EMTs. And I already got 5 for what, top of Mount Rogers, that's interested, excited. I have 4 from Troutdale that's excited about it. So, we will do our best.
I'm excited that you got 15 already signed up, or 12.
That's amazing.
12 already signed up, 4 advertised, that's cool.
Thanks, Ms. Barnes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all that you do for the people of the county, we appreciate it.
Thank you for my neighbors.
So we need to vote on this, the money for it, or, you know,
No, it's money already approved.
already approved, okay, so we're gonna vote required, okay? All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm confused. We had already instructed administration to fund the training that's being requested. And I've had conversations with both Mr. Shepley and Mitch about this and was assured the money was coming. Why is this before us?
It's not, Mr. Rove. We just said that it had already been approved, and we didn't need to approve it again. So you must have misunderstood what was said.
They just came to thank us, I think.
Yeah, it's already been approved, and they just come to explain what's going on, and they're gonna advertise, and already had 12 signed up, and are interested, and hopefully have 30, I hope. So,
Thank you.
we're good on that.
Thank you.
So Supervisor Rebels, they were not asked to come, they just, out of the kindness of their hearts, they came in and wanted to thank the board for supporting. Is that accurate to say?
That's very accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, they just sign up as public comment.
Paul, is this something the association is aware of?
We couldn't advertise anything until we got the approval from everybody, so. It's been going on since June 7th.
So they knew that it was coming. They don't know the specific dates, I don't think, because we were, again, waiting for the Department of Health to give us the go-ahead to start having classes again. So they know generally, they don't know specifically. We'll make sure they do know shortly.
I would add that the State Department of Health, we've been in touch with them, this week since our meeting earlier this week, with representatives from the county, and they're very excited about it. They actually, their offices are closed. They came in to process that application, which Julie had, overnighted to them.
That's great.
Okay. I appreciate y'all coming out.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, now we are looking to go into motion to go into closed session relating personnel matter of A1 and business of A5 and legal matters of A7. I hear a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Rebels made the
Second.
motion. Mr. Hayes second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
So we are in closed session.